Welcome to Dilly Ding Dilly Dong, the Leicester Mercury's Leicester City podcast. I'm Rob Tanner. Joining me today down the King Power Stadium is Jordan Blackwell. Afternoon, Jordan.
Afternoon.
Well, we just sat through Claude Puel's pre-match press conference ahead of the FA Cup replay with Fleetwood Town. Before we bring you all the team news, just like to remind you, Beer 52 have a special offer for Leicester City fans. If you go to their website, beer52.com, and register using the tagline Leicester, you can be enjoying 8 beers from around the world, and all you got to do is pay the postage and packing. Now then, Geordie, let's get underway with the team news. We're expecting a raft of changes, but we might have a familiar but new face, fresh face, back in the City squad.
Yes, it could be Robert Huth's first game of the season. He's missed the whole of the season so far. He had that ankle surgery in the summer, and then there was the recurrence of the foot problem. But he's played the last 2 games for the under-23. He's played 90 minutes in both of those. And Puel says he said that his typical line, "We will see," which is usually a good sign. But he said he's going to weigh up his match fitness to see if he's ready and available. But I think, given that he has played those 2 under-23 games, he is probably ready to be involved, or at least on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the under-23s have got the Checkatrade Trophy game, the rearranged game at Oldham on Wednesday night as well, so he's certainly going to get featured in one of the 2 games. But it'd be great to see the big man back in a City shirt and around the first team. Yeah,
definitely. I know he's very well liked by the fans, and it's a shame that he's had so many injury problems this season, so it'd be nice to see him back.
Yeah, especially with Wes Morgan now. There's some news on Wes Morgan and Danny Simpson as well, isn't there?
Yes, so it seems Simpson's slightly ahead in his recovery. Obviously, his hamstring injury was slightly earlier than Morgan's. Simpson could be back in full training by Wednesday or Thursday, Puel said. For Morgan, he's still in the gym, and so there's no timescale on his return yet. But given Simpson was only in the gym last week, perhaps we'll see Morgan in full training next week, and then with a return probably looking towards the beginning of February.
Now, Ben Chilwell, we know, is suspended after that red card at Chelsea. Before we go on, I'll get your thoughts on that. What did you think? Right decision, wrong decision?
I thought the second yellow card he was given was a yellow card. The first one's a bit iffy, but given that he was on a yellow card, he shouldn't have made that tackle on Moses, and it doesn't matter that he didn't know Moses wasn't there. He should have known he was there.
And what about the revelation from Mark Albrighton that the referee said it's not about the manner of the tackles, it's where they are on the pitch? Because I think that a lot of City fans thought there was a number of challenges from Chelsea players that were just as similar to Chilwell's that went unpunished.
Yeah, I can understand that. I personally, I thought it was a little bit of frustration. It did seem there was a period where Chelsea's fouls were going unpunished, particularly Kante seemed to be getting away with quite a lot. But I think that is fair. I think even if it's a small trip, if you're tripping somebody up and they're breaking away, then you would say that's worthy of a yellow card. So I don't think there can be too many complaints, although I think Kante was probably lucky to get away without a booking.
So Christian Fuchs is likely to definitely start at left back in Chilwell's absence. Jamie Vardy. Now, he missed the first game against his former club because of that injury, but he's fit now. Will he feature, do you think?
He will feature, I think. I think he'll be on the bench and we might see him come on. I don't think... I think given his his enthusiasm to play, and he was really disappointed, obviously, to miss that game against his former club at Fleetwood, and he's now over that groin problem. I think Puel will sort of succumb to the romance of the cup, and we'll put him on the bench, and maybe we'll see him in the last 20 minutes. Puel said he's going to be in the squad, so I think we will see him get a run out on Tuesday.
Well, let's talk about 2 new signings. One, he feels like a new signing, even though he technically was in the Premier League squad in August. Adrian Silva and Diabate. Now, are we going to see either of those 2?
Silva, you would expect so. Certainly, Puel implied that he would be given another run out, and given that he wasn't part of the Premier League squad and he played for the under-23s last Friday, I think we can expect that he will start tomorrow's game. Diabate, we won't see him because he wasn't registered in time for the first game at Fleetwood. He's therefore ineligible for the replay, so the wait for his debut will come soon.
So I personally think the starting lineup tomorrow is going to have a very familiar feel to the one that played in the first game at Fleetwood. Do you agree with that? He's going to make a lot of changes.
Yeah, I think he'll make a lot of changes. I think Puel spoke a lot today about respecting the cup and respecting the traditions and the stories of the FA Cup, but I think he will make changes again. I think Ben Lawan will get another game. I think maybe we'll see King, Ibora, maybe we'll see Iheanacho, or obviously Slimani, maybe Gray, Barnes, all those sorts of players. I think will come in because he's got a lot of squad players that he'll probably feel deserve a game, and this is a better opportunity for them to get a run out than either Chelsea the weekend just gone or Watford the weekend coming. So yes, I think City will make plenty of changes, but I think it shouldn't affect the performance as much as it did at Fleetwood, because I think they'll probably fare a little bit better on a better quality pitch.
Well, what a contrast in the two performances, the one in Fleetwood and the one at Chelsea. Both were 0-0 draws away from home, but it was a stark contrast between the two performances, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really excellent performance, particularly first half. You'd say is probably one of City's best 45 minutes of the season. Unfortunate maybe not to take a lead into half time, but then once Chilwell was sent off, they showed that resilience and didn't really let Chelsea in and didn't really let them have any chances. So a really good all-round performance, and certainly a deserved point and a much needed boost after the Fleetwood game, which really was it felt like a really negative 0-0, and it was one of those really
they were booed off, weren't they?
Yeah, it was one of those really disappointing games where Leicester didn't create anything at all, and it wasn't like a 0-0 where they've gone close and it's been a heroic display from the opposition keeper. Fleetwood were the better team, so to improve so drastically to the Chelsea game certainly should give fans a bit more optimism.
So what Leicester City are we going to see? We're going to see the one from Fleetwood or the one from Chelsea?
Probably in between. I think the number of changes always affects any side, and I think that game at Fleetwood was that group of players' first game together, particularly with Silva and Barnes coming in. Obviously, they've not really been part of the squad, but I think we'll see an improvement from that game just because the pitch is better. I think Leicester clearly struggled on the bubbly pitch and didn't know how best to deal with it. Back on home turf, they know the pitch well. I think that there won't be any problems there. I think it'll still be quite a tight game, but I think Leicester's performance will be better, and I think they will get over the line this time.
How do you think the atmosphere might affect things? We understand only the West Stand is open to home fans, and the away end for the Fleetwood fans. So it's going to be quite a cavernous sound, isn't it? It's going to be echoing around the ground. It's not going to have its usual match day feel.
Yeah, I don't think for this sort of game it will have too much of an effect. I think maybe Leicester won't be able to take advantage of good moments if compared to if the stadium was full. Because I think sometimes if it's a full stadium and the fans sense a bit of momentum growing, that's when the fans really get behind, and I think the players respond to that. But if there's only one stand filled, I don't think that'll be the case as much. But they're professional players; the atmosphere around them shouldn't play too much importance, and they should be fine.
Yeah, I know they're professional, but they're also human, aren't they? And we do hear from the players from time to time. They talk about the 12th man and the fans lifting them and giving them a boost, and equally so when the fans get on their backs, how that can affect certain individuals. So I imagine the atmosphere will be a bit strange tomorrow night, but we'll see how they get on. Puel said that he really does value the FA Cup. He's talking about the romance of it, the history of it, and how it's loved by supporters and spectators. And he's talking the competition up. He's talking as if they're going to have a good go at it.
Yes, he is. Yeah, and I think maybe if Leicester get through to the latter stages, I think that's when probably the team selection will reflect Puel's words. At the minute, I don't think they will. And even if they get through and then they go to Peterborough, I think again we'll see a similar side where it's a second string side, if you like. Once you get to the round after that, that's when maybe we'll think, okay, Puel might think, well, we've got a decent chance here, because by that point we're then in mid-February. Leicester might be on 37, 38 points, something like that, all of a sudden relegation is out of the question if you get to that tally. So then the FA Cup, well, in my opinion, it should become the focus, and I think we'll start to see the likes of Vardy and Mahrez playing in the FA Cup.
Well, he did say as well, didn't he, that they want to go on a journey in the FA Cup, but 11 players alone can't go on that journey. And he's certainly true to that word, isn't he? He's trying to use the FA Cup at the moment to give valuable game time to some of the players that aren't featuring very much, keep them sharp, keep them involved, keep them happy. Especially with a transfer window fully in full operation at the moment. Now, he's again inevitably, and he must be getting sick of it because I'm getting sick of it. Riyad Mahrez, he was asked again about Riyad Mahrez, and he said all the same things he said before. Riyad's smiling and enjoying his football. He talks about football a lot with his teammates. He seems happy, he will stay with us. But then he threw in a little line today which took a few people by surprise when he was asked if Riyad was worth 100 million. And then he said, yeah, he would be in the summer, worth 100 million. And I did have a wry smile on his face as he said it, but I think there's a message there for any potential suitors.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, looking at the market, we can only go by the transfers in this window. We've seen that Virgil van Dijk is worth £75 million. We've seen that Coutinho is worth £140 million. Now, Mahrez has got to be in that bracket. He's not half the player Coutinho is, certainly not. And so all of a sudden you say, well, he can't be only 70 million then, or he can't be only 50 million. He must be 100 million. I think if Leicester do sell, and I don't think it will be this window. I think he is more likely to leave in the summer. I don't think it will be for anywhere near that kind of price. But certainly with the way the window is going at the minute, it will take an extremely large bid for Leicester to say, okay, yeah, Riyad, you can go.
Well, you can certainly understand why they turned down 32 million, which was the highest bid for him in the summer. But I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see Mahrez moving on unless something incredibly extraordinary happens in this transfer window. I think it's more likely in the summer that we might see something on his future settled either way. He hasn't said it outright, but we still understand he would like his move to a big Champions League club, but he's not pushing for it like he was in the summer. So he seems quite happy to see out the season with City, which is good news for him, good news for the club. He's playing regularly, he's playing well. He did well at Chelsea, I thought. A bit suspect on the when he went over Christensen's leg inside the area, but now we're used to that, aren't we? I think it's more likely this summer. Now, there were some interesting lines coming out when he was asked about transfers coming in. Now, we were expecting Leicester City to bring some bodies in, and they've been linked with numerous players again, most of them without any truth in those. We call them Bob Cheese, don't we, in the office? Bob Cheese stories. But he said today about the quality that he wants to bring in, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I think Puel's always spoken about making sure that any players Leicester do bring in can make an improvement to the squad. He's always said they've got to bring something more, bring something better. They're not just buying players for the sake of buying players. And he said that today. He said it's not an obligation to buy players. He's only going to buy players if he thinks they're really worth it. And he actually said he's demanding, is the word he used, of the quality of the player. So I think there's probably discussions going on with Puel and the scouting and recruitment team, and I think Puel is probably really involved and takes it very seriously, and really wants to make sure that the players that Leicester are buying are really worth the money that they're going to be spending, because it's not just other teams that are going to have to pay big money for Mahrez. If Leicester want to buy players, they're going to have to pay big money as well, because as Puel says, nobody wants to sell their best players, particularly not in January. So I think it's clearly something he takes very seriously, and he doesn't want to upset the spirit and the attitude of the squad just to bring in a squad player who's not really going to benefit the squad.
Well, that's all about tomorrow's game at Fleetwood. We're going to have a live blog running throughout the game. We've got a live blog running throughout the day as well, and bringing you all the build up to the game. And check back on the Merca website for all the stories coming out of this press conference and the big build up to the game. And don't forget to go to beer52.